G'day, welcome back to another episode of TOGL. Well, this week one of my tasks is I want to build some automatically opening and closing doors for the chicken coops behind me. That way I don't have to worry about going down in the morning if it's cold or wet to let the chickens out, but more importantly, the door will close automatically once it gets dark, once all the chickens are in the coop. That's good because it means A, if I forget the door's already closed, or B, if we happen to be out to dinner or something like that and we're not home on dusk, at least the door's going to get closed behind the chickens. Now, what I'm using to do that is I've actually got the unit I bought from a company. It's a Tasmanian company. No endorsement, as in like they're not paying me to say anything about them. They don't even know I'm doing this. I just found them and ordered them. It's called Coop Secure. So you can go to coopsecure.com.au. It's an automatic chicken door opener. They've got a few different variants. The one that I went with should lift up to, it lifts between 400 grams and 1.2 kilos, or 1200 grams, which is going to be great. It means that I can actually use this unit to lift 2 doors as well. And I'll show you how I'm going to configure that to be able to lift 2 at the same time. So I bought 2 of these units. So one will go in the chicken tractor over the back. The other unit will lift both doors here. So it seems pretty straightforward. It's quite a nice little unit. Very well made. And it's pretty much putting that part in is easy. They've done all the hard work. My job though, the hard work, is going to be making the doors. So what I'm going to make the doors out of is I went and got some of this aluminium plate. So I just went down to Bunnings, got this aluminium plate. Now it is checker plate, and I'm going to put the checker on the inside of the coop. I don't know how good those quolls are, but I hear they're pretty smart. I'd hate for them to be able to get their claws onto that checker and lift that door. I doubt they could, I really do, but just to be safe, I'll put the smooth side facing out. So I'm going to cut this in half. That means I've got 4 doors, I only need 3, but I'll cut this in half, cut that one in half. That's going to make this door 300 by 300. And that the 2 of them will fit into the right weight. This one will probably have to be about 300 by 400 because I need a little bit extra weight in it. Like I said, the minimum weight for this to operate properly is 400 grams. And then what I did for tracks, you can buy U-channel, but I found that the deeper the channel got, the fatter it got. And I didn't want all that slack in there that the door slides in to move around. And then I found this tubing. So it's narrow, but it was wide that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut this outside edge off, and that will give me a really nice deep channel. When I've got the 2 of those, they will be put on, screwed onto the chicken coop. So looking up, they'll be screwed on, and then the door will sit in there, the door can slide, right? That's the plan. I also got a very thin piece of metal as well. What I'm going to do with that is I'll cut that into 3 pieces that are the same width, and I'm going to put that so that when the door comes down, the edge of the door actually goes behind it. Again, it's just an added safety feature, is to stop an animal getting its claw under the door and lifting, because it would actually be getting its claw under that, which is going to be screwed onto the front. It'll all become clear as I do it. Now, this little unit is really clever because I'll just bring it forward and show you. Well, hopefully that's going to come up clear. Now this spring in the middle, that's where the magic happens. So what happens is, that's the motor that winds the string up, and that string goes through the end of that spring and then back out. This spring, it determines the tension, so when it's unwinding, it'll lower down until the door stops and slack goes in the string, and as soon as there's slack in the string and that spring is fully closed, the motor stops. Then when it's time to lift the doors back up again, the string will wind in and the tension will pull that spring out. Now, the reason that it has to be between 400 grams and 1.4 or 1.2 kilos it was, is because that's where the tension of the spring is. So what happens is, as that door lifts up, I need to put a stopper in that the door will jam against. As the motor keeps winding and gets past 1.4 kilos of pull tension, that spring gets pulled out and then it stops the motor. So this spring is what stops and starts the motor for putting the doors up and down. It's a very clever system, very clever system. Anyway, it's time we got started onto it. And yeah, I've got a nice sunny morning. Let's get cracking. Okay, so now what I've done is I took 2 of them, chopped them in half to give me the 4, so this will be for 2 doors, to be the 2 sides. Now what I did with each of these is I drilled a fine hole right through along here. That hole is where the screw will go, and then what I've done on the other side is I drilled a larger hole over the top of the smaller one. That's large enough to get the head of the screw through. Now when I broke through that top layer and got to the bottom one, I went just a little bit deeper, just enough to make a bit of a countersink in there, a bit of a depression for the head of the screw to sit in. Because when that becomes the rail and that door is sliding up and down in there, we do not want it catching on the head of the screws. So I had to countersink as well. So that's how I've done that. Now you notice that that is still a tube at the moment. I haven't cut this outside edge off. And the reason I did that was because if I'd cut the outside edge off first, the pressure pushing down to drill may have bent the top in a little bit. And it would have essentially squished the channel that I want to make out of this. So now that I've done all the drilling, now I will just simply run the grinder down the edge and take this edge off, and that will give me my C channel. Make one for the left and right, and that's what the door's going to slide in. So I just got to cut this edge off now. Alright, well, it's been a day or two. I got my rails finished, and it's cold this morning, as you can tell. That wind's up and it's icy. So what I've got to do now is get these rails put. This door will come off, the rails will go in here like this. I also need to make sure that they are perfectly vertical, because we don't want an angle, because then the door might jam in it. So we need it perfectly vertical. The chickens are very curious. What? Hey. All right. I don't think you can see them on the camera, but they're all right around me at the moment, watching what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to pre-drill. We'll get the first one in, which will be this one. Now let's have a look at how that is. That needs to come out just a little bit to there. Let's go there. I think I need to pre-drill with a slightly bigger drill bit because it's too tight to get the screw in. I can't get it all the way in, and I'm stripping the head out, which isn't good. So I'll just go and get a larger drill bit. I'll be back. Watch out, you lot. Come on, move. All right, let's try that again. Where was my hole? And that's perfect. Now I've been able to get that in nice. The countersunk head is flush in there, and the door should not catch on that at all. So I just need to do the rest of these. Double check. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Watch out. Come on, out the way. Little nosy Parkers. Move. Well, I've got the door there. I'll just put a little screw just to stop it falling down at the moment until I get the string and pulley system worked out. Now what I need to do, this is the unit, the controller that'll lift the doors up and down, and I need to get that fixed up there. Now, where the holes are is actually a bit wider than that panel. So what I need to do, I'll screw this board on first, then that can go onto there. So I'll get that on now. Okay, so now with the panel there, I can get this screwed on there like that. So you take the cover off. And then the 4 holes in the corners is where we'll screw it. We'll get those 2 screwed in first. Okay, so that's on there now. So now I'll just screw the cover plate back over. Now it says that you don't put the batteries in the system until everything is strung up and connected. I haven't done that yet, so I'll just put the cover plate on. Then I've got a few more things to do before we can put the batteries in for this. Okay, so I've got a pulley here. It's actually a double pulley because one string is going to come down through the back one, come across to another pulley that'll be here and down to the door. The other one will come down through the front pulley, go to my right, go over to the other door. So what I need to do now is I'm going to have to put a block of wood in here, because if I put the pulley there, the string's going to pull across the edge of this batten. So I need to bring it out to the same level. So I'll put a block of wood in there. I can get a pulley or even just an eyelet. I'm thinking maybe just an eyelet. The string can go up through an eyelet, come across into that pulley, up onto that. Let me go and find some eyelets and a block of wood for there. I'll have to do the same on the other side too. All right, so I've now got some little eyelets. It's a bit later in the afternoon. Kay was running into town. I asked her to get me some. So these are just a little eyelet hook like that. What I'm going to do, I was going to put the block of wood, but then I thought if I put a block of wood, I'm pulling the string out to where the block of wood is. I want it to come straight up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these directly above it, probably at about there. I'll put another one just on the edge here, which will bring the string out. From there, it'll go across to this pulley. From the pulley, it'll go up to here. That's this side going to be done. Now I've also added, which you can't see down the bottom, let me adjust that camera, hold on one. Right, so down the bottom here what I've done is I've put a metal strip there as well. The reason I put that there is, if I can get that screw out, which I can't, when this door drops down, this edge will go in behind that metal plate. What I didn't want to happen was for a quoll to be able to get its claws under the edge and lift, like that. And if a quoll comes up here, he might get his claw and try and lift it. Well, now he can't because he's only going to be pulling on this metal strap. The edge of that'll be in behind it. So that's just another precaution really. So that's noisy. So that's that. Anyway, I'll get these in. Now I will pre-drill, makes life a whole lot easier. How about that? So I'm using braided fishing line, which is super strong. Oi, bugger off, chicken. Now what I can see here is I haven't quite got this above that. It has to be directly above it, otherwise it's going to make that door twist. I'm going to need to reposition that. That's going to work a treat. Okay, all the strings are run. That should work fine. All I've got to do now is put the batteries in, and we'll wait for nightfall and we'll see if it works. As you can see, the doors are working great. Not sure if you're able to see it because it's so dark, but right after dark, those doors close, you can hear that motor turning. And as you can see, if I put the torch onto the sensor, you can see the door come up. That's about the speed that the doors will come up and then go back down again. So yeah, so those doors are working fantastic. I'm really happy with that. It's going to save me a lot of worry, a lot of hassle, especially if it's rainy or, you know, we're not up here on the block at that time of night where we need to close them in. So definitely worth putting the effort in, definitely worth putting the money in. They are one of the more expensive ones that's on the market, but like they say, buy once, cry once. At least we've got a really good quality door now on those chicken coops. So that's fantastic. Anyway, we've had a couple of days of rain, which has been really good to get some water into the tank. It's been fantastic, but it's made things very cold. Here's a photo that I took this morning. Beautiful sunrise, and you can see the snow on the mountain right out the back. It was a very frosty morning this morning. Anyway, I need to wrap up the video here. So thanks very much for watching. I appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Until next week, you stay safe, take care. I'll see you guys next Friday. Thanks a lot. Cheers.